Hey everyone, just giving you some options to keep you moving throughout the day, even if you only have a couple minutes to do it. Give you a break from maybe sitting at the desk for too long or just being stuck inside. As you can see, you can do this anywhere. I'm going to show you some stretches for legs and hips, and you don't necessarily need a mat. If you have carpeted area, that's great. If you want to lay down a blanket or something like that, that's fine too. So from here, we're going to start off by just waking up our feet first. So you lift and spread your toes and start to pedal out. Start to take all of the tension and holding out of your shoulders and just kind of let them move purely because the rest of your body's moving. So from here, just start to check and see where you're at. Lift one leg at a time. And again, breathing in through your nose, out of your mouth. You can put your feet back down on the ground and place your toes back down. Now from here, you don't have to go down extremely, like all the way to the ground. This is just going to be maybe 1 or 2 inches, just to feel more weight in the bottom of your feet. And now let that connection almost like magnetically connect you to the ground and start to stand a little bit more back up, right? Now from here, hug your belly to your spine. It's kind of just like squeezing your muscles towards your spine so that it makes you bring your shoulders up further. Soften in your neck and jaw, and again, go down maybe 1 or 2 inches without letting your shoulders fold forward. Hug your belly to your spine, and then release your arms. Stand back up, really trusting that connection to the ground. Now from here, we're gonna take one little step forward with one foot and turn the back foot sideways so that we move into our 90-degree knee position. And from here, try to keep your ears over shoulders over hips, taking knee towards toes on both legs. Just start to slowly bend into this. And from here, shift your weight forwards and back, forward and back, forward and back. And to get balance for both sides, you're going to turn your front foot parallel to the back and now open on the other side. Just shift forward and back, forward and back. And bring your feet parallel. And from here, you can turn both feet out to about 45 degrees. You're going to try to aim for keeping ears over shoulders over hips and let your knees move out towards your toes. And from here, you can balance with your hands on your knees and just start to feel how far you can actually go. Don't judge, because it might not be very far if you haven't been stretching that much. So the most important thing is to get right before the edge, before you're putting yourself in a position that you don't normally go in, and just trying to wake everything up. If you can go a little bit further, you can take your elbows to the outsides of your knees, or the inside of your knees, and get a little bit more of a inside leg muscle stretch. There we go. And from here, you can touch down on the ground, press your hips back, start to straighten your knees, and see you widen your ankles to the side. And you can press hips back, head down. And from here, you've got to rotate your ankles back in just a little bit. Start to scoop your hands forward, raise up. Start to bend your knees before you fold forward, touch down, hips up. Again, widening your ankles to the side. And then turning your ankles back in, big scoop up. Bend your knees, touch down, widen your ankles, press back just a little bit. Now from here, you can walk to one leg, both hands over to one leg. And you can keep your foot parallel, or you can turn this knee all the way out. I prefer to turn it all the way out. That way I can turn from the hip socket. Now, if you can't touch all the way down there, please don't judge. From here, you can keep your balance in this position. You can turn one knee out and you can stay right here. That can be your stopping point and it can be good enough, right? Moving to the other side, you're going to turn this leg parallel. Or if you were down here, you would walk your hands all the way to the other side. Turning from the hip, get that knee all the way out. And again, if you're not going with your hands all the way down on the ground, you can keep both hands on this knee. We're trying not to stay in one static position for too long. So sideways, this would look from here, walking all the way over, and then turning this whole leg out from the hip. Or if this is your stopping point, we go right here, right? And again, hug your belly to your spine during all of this. It's gonna get you a little bit closer to the ground instead of keeping more energy up high. You're gonna really focus on trying to be very round and circular in this space so that as you move, you're kind of moving all of this as one unit, right? And turn that leg back towards parallel with the other foot. And from here, without dropping all the way down, if you can shift your weight towards one knee, one ankle, you can keep this foot down for just a second. See if you can keep your arms balanced on the side, and again, hug your belly to your spine, keep your shoulders relaxed, but just arms out to the side. See if you can keep this distance to the ground for your midsection and just slide to the other side. And other side. And if you can go down a little bit further, I encourage you to lift the ankle that you're going to be moving away from. And again, go slow. If you feel any discomfort in this knee, please bring it closer to the other foot. And switch sides. And again, this is just an option. It's not, you have to go all the way to the ground. But if you want, you can drop down. If you have space to do it, you can give yourself a little bit more room. If you want a little bit more than that, you can turn your torso toward the extended leg. And even take the opposite arm and reach towards the foot. And then come back up. You can use your hands to help you get back up. Other side. Again, you can take up more space by letting the ankle go further out. Or you can stop here. Or if you feel any discomfort in your knee, bring it in closer. You're just trying to stretch the bottom of your hamstrings right here. Okay, so if you are all the way down, and if you want more, you can turn towards the extended leg, take the opposite arm. All right, and from wherever you're at, bring your feet back together, come all the way down to the ground. And this one is going to be for working the sides of the hips right here. So you're going to lift the hips up just slightly, take one leg, cross one ankle over opposite knee, and then just start to shift your hips from side to side. Once you feel a point of resistance, kind of stop and hang out there, breathe with it, connect with it, see if you can allow it to soften. Give yourself a second to thank yourself for showing up to do the work for a little bit, just to get some blood moving. If you can go a little further, that's fine. Whew. Come back to center, go to the other side. Other side. If you want it to be a little bit more, you can bring this ankle all the way in here too. Starts to get into the front of the hip muscles on the bent leg. And now move your ankle away from your hip if you brought it closer. Lift your hips up, kick that out, switch sides. You might feel completely different on this side, and that is not abnormal. It's very, very rare that we're ever completely symmetrical. And that's just another thing to acknowledge and kind of learn to find softness and acceptance and allowance with. Just be wherever you are today. And back, rotating towards the opposite side. And again, I'm flexing this foot that's bent, the ankle that's touching the top of my knee right here, because I want to protect my knee in this position, right? Instead of letting my foot turn, I want to keep this bent, like I'm still standing on the ground. And that will allow you to get further into your hip too. And drop it to the other side. All right. And again, if you want it further, you could bring it all the way in, get a little bit deeper into the front of the hip here. It's absolutely not essential if that's not where you are today and it's not what you feel like doing. Okay. So lift your hips up, bring that back out. Now from here, without without being concerned about getting my knees to the ground, because if, you know, for Aikido, all I'm really concerned with is having flexibility in this 90-degree position with my legs to be able to, you know, ultimately stand in hanmi, right? Sideways, that half stance. So more than anything, when I'm going into this position, I want to find softness in being able to just kind of shift my weight from side to side more than anything, and to allow that to open a little bit more. Maybe even relaxing the neck and letting it kind of drop down to the side. And this is prior to doing any sort of like actual rolling or anything like that. You're just shifting your weight, almost noticing just kind of where you're at and communicating just to really get in touch with where you're at. You might notice that that's enough to give you kind of a break in your day. Gives you something else to be concentrating on, finding some softness, finding some allowance. Maybe the focus was just on the breath work. So please join me for some more exercises as we continue trying to navigate how to keep moving through all the things that we have on our plates at any given time. More big, deep breath. Thank you for taking the time. Talk soon.